Hello, everyone. I'm Sara Luterman, caregiving reporter at the 19th. I'm excited to talk today with Raven Sutton, a disability advocate and influencer. You may recognize her from Netflix's popular reality television show, The Circle, where she became the first deaf contestant to compete on the program. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
So Raven, you're third generation deaf, which means your parents and grandparents are also deaf. I think a lot of hearing and non-disabled people are unaware that there are whole deaf families out there. What was it like growing up in a household so entrenched in deaf culture?
Well, really, I grew up with hearing family first. My dad, his side of the family, they were deaf, or my grandparents are deaf, but my mom's side of the family, they were all hearing. So I didn't really find out until later on, when I actually met my grandmother for the first time. And that was the first time. I was probably around the age of six or seven, I believe, when I finally saw ASL from another person signing I saw Black ASL too. And I thought that was just really cool. Growing up with that rich history and knowing that my grandmother actually she went to a segregated school, at that time, and just learning a whole lot about my family, and also having cousins and everything like that too. And just, I ended up going to a deaf school in Alabama myself. So really just being immersed into the deaf community and the culture. So it was really, really nice to have family that, I could identify with, that we shared a lot of the same things, the same culture. It was really, really really great, rich experience.
So I have to ask you about The Circle. Do you feel like it was a positive experience, and are you getting more work now that the show is over?
So I'm actually, being on this circle was definitely a positive experience for me, because that was actually the first time that they had a deaf person on the television show, also showing a Black deaf person being represented, which is not something that you see often, especially not on a big television screen like that. So I was really, really happy about that, about that being on Netflix. It was a door open to learn about the deaf culture for other people. And to really just, they really worked with me, made it accessible for me and my experience on the show. It was awesome. And also, to answer your second question, yes, definitely. I have gotten more work since that show has ended. So since The Circle, yes.
Do you see very many deaf people on TV when you were growing up?
No, no. I think maybe one that would have been Marley Matlin. And then later on, probably in about 2016, Niall DeMarco, very few, especially on the big screen growing up, no, but definitely, especially not Black deaf, no.
Have you had the opportunity to connect with people because of the show? Like how has it felt to be the person that you didn't see growing up?
It's really inspiring. It's an inspiring feeling, because it took me a minute. Well, first I was like, I'm on the show. I was enjoying everything. I was like, I think I can do it. I think I can win. And also to see a deaf representative on the show. But later on, it really hit me like, wow, people are really looking up to me now. And people actually can see themselves in me. And I've gotten so many messages from parents letting me know that their daughter wants to dye their hair blue, or, wants to learn ASL. And that's just really exciting. And it was really exciting to see me on TV, on the big screen. So, I mean, it gives me chills just thinking about it, but I'm happy that I could be a positive representation for people to look up to. And also, it honestly healed my inner child too.
A lot of folks loved your dynamic with your interpreter on the show, Paris. What is something that you wish more people understood about Paris and the deaf interpreter relationship in general?
So many people already don't see interpreters often, especially not on a big screen. So they don't understand the point of the interpreter is very important, especially when you have deaf people that ask for an interpreter, because a lot of people are not aware of that. You're supposed to find an interpreter that best fits the person, also that best fits the environment as well. So my purpose of picking, because we both went to college together. I knew her on a personal level, as well as on a professional level. And she had experience interpreting for me before. So she knows my style, my attitude, my word choices. She already knows those things. So I felt like she would have been a perfect voice for me. That was really important, to get the right interpreter so that they can be a perfect match. That's kind of how that works with having an interpreter and having a deaf person. You want 100% access. You can't half-ass access. So it was an awesome opportunity to be on TV, and so many hearing people were saying, wow, every time I see, Raven signing, whoever's talking is always matching her emotions and her attitude. And I feel like it's really Raven talking. And that is what shows the expertise of an interpreter, of a skilled interpreter. And that you can not only use that for TV, but for general things like conference calls or work or meetings. And many deaf people already are kind of, hesitant with getting interpreters, because sometimes, the person will say something and it's not in the way that the deaf person wants it to be said, or they say something completely different, or they use different vocabulary. So that's not me. Like we're saying, that's not what I'm trying to say. So it's really good when you have a great interpreter that matches your client.
So I actually didn't first hear about you from the circle. The first time I heard about you was your ASL performance of WAP that went viral. So to everyone out in the audience, if you haven't seen it, go Google it after the interview. It's great. With that in mind, Raven, how did you get interested in ASL performance?
Really, it's going back to me growing up. Was a dancer, and I loved music, coming from a family that enjoyed music. So I realized, that music is not always accessible to the deaf community. If you notice, many hearing people, that they have misunderstandings about, like, what do you say? How do you say this? How do you interpret music? How do you enjoy music? How do you dance? And how do you do all those things? Like, it's impossible to do that. You can't hear music. There's so many misunderstandings and misinterpretations about music, and about not making it accessible for us. So because I dance, I learned how to follow the music, how to follow the beat, and to stay on beat. And also, I like the beat, and I learned the lyrics, like actually figuring out what they're saying. And I just study it until it becomes almost like muscle memory. And then when I go out with friends, or I'm dancing, or I'm at a party, or wherever I am, typically I'll just go ahead and sign, or I'll interpret the music for my friends or anybody who's deaf. Or if someone asks me, hey, can you sign this song? And I'm like, yeah, of course, sure. And then, every once in a while, I would post something on social media, on YouTube. Before, I posted every once in a while. And then when COVID happened, I heard, the song WAP, and listened to the music, and I thought, hey, it would be awesome to see that in ASL. I never thought that it would actually go viral. So I posted it, not thinking much of it. And then I woke up the next day, and it had gone viral everywhere. It was everywhere. So, yeah.
What makes ASL performance different than just translating a song? like just doing the words? What makes it special and different?
So for me as an ASL performer, for one, I didn't go to school to become an interpreter. So I don't follow the interpreting code of ethics or their, all the things that they have to do. But also, typically when I see different interpreters, I see, their job, they're basically just relaying the message. Whatever they hear is what they put out. Whatever they hear is what they say, and that's kind of how that is. And they'll just be standing there and signing, just signing. It depends on, the interpreter style. But ASL performance, it takes work. Literally practicing and studying music, just trying to figure out a different way to, to figure out how you can use, some of their language, some of the words to also with my body. It's not just signing, and also dancing, movements, signing, just doing different things and incorporating that into the interpretation. It's almost like telling a story, almost like an artist that's trying to, share something with everyone. So I don't interpret, but it's more of a performance. And I say that because when I actually go to like a music festival or something, and hearing people, they typically have permission to watch. They can watch the band play and listen to the band, and they have the dancers and they have lights and just all of that. You have a full show. But with deaf people, they can watch the artist and all of that, but they miss the access as far as like, what are the words? What's actually happening? They can see it, they can feel it, but what are the words? That part is usually missing. So when they have to take their eyes off of the artist and off of the stage to look at me, I want to make sure that I'm matching what the artist is giving so that they can still enjoy it, enjoy the music, get into it. And like when you listen to music, hearing people, they're nodding their heads, they're bopping their heads, they're moving and all that. I want the same equal access for a deaf person, for deaf people. When I'm moving and I'm getting into the music, deaf people are watching me. I want them to be able to match my movements and my energy, and feel the vibrations. It's just, you want to give them the full package.
So there's been some controversy around ASL interpretation on platforms like TikTok. I think, for example, Amanda Morris, who's hard of hearing herself, highlighted the spread of fake sign language in a Washington Post piece. Why is it important for deaf creators to be centered in ASL performance work on social media and elsewhere?
I think on social media, it becomes like a trend. You learn ASL, which is great, by the way, and it's awesome. And we definitely need more exposure. But the issue is when hearing people try to take our space, almost kind of for clout, and they feel like it's an easy way to, gain 100 or 1 million followers, but they don't actually realize that it's causing harm. And when you teach the wrong signs, that causes harm as well. It's not appropriate. It's not ASL. So it's not okay to just take advantage of spreading false information. There's already a lot of, misconceptions with our culture and misunderstandings with our culture. But it is great that people want to take ASL and have an appreciation for wanting to learn it, but also like you can't learn a lot about a culture from people, from like a 10-second video clip. And you can't use that when you want to meet or when you end up meeting a deaf person face to face. You can't communicate a song lyric. You know what I mean? You can't communicate with, the wrong signs. So it's great that people are wanting to learn, sign language and the music and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's access for us. It's not just for their enjoyment, but it's, they're trying to spread a message, saying it's okay to learn about ASL and the culture, but find a way that you can help us as deaf people with access. Like you can go viral on, a video teaching ASL, but in real life, deaf people still are frustrated and struggling trying to find jobs and are still struggling with getting an interpreter for doctor's appointments. And we still, have those everyday challenges that we face. So it's like, it's great to want to learn sign language, even to songs, but what's next,
So you recently got to do an ASL performance live for Megan Thee Stallion. How did that happen and what was it like? Sorry, I realize that's like a big turn of tone.
Oh, no. Okay. That was really just that was a full turning moment, almost like a pun intended. So what happened is about 3 years ago, I was actually signing WAP, and so many people follow me anyway from signing. And everyone who follows me already knows, they want me to interpret for, Megan, and it was a dream of mine. So finally, I had that opportunity to interpret for her. And I was just fangirling. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, I was overwhelmed with excitement. It was just so hard to, I'm trying to watch her and also perform at the same time. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. I mean, I loved it. It was for a day to be on her team, and to be able to travel and do the tour and her song, and to be able to, meet her personally and to be her interpreter with the team as well as having another interpreter. It was amazing. But oh my goodness, it was wonderful experience.
So you did the whole tour?
No,
Oh, okay.
it was only just, she came here for LA Pride.
Okay.
So I just interpreted for her there and at the Essence Festival.
Okay, awesome.
Those two things. But I mean, honestly, ongoing, I would love for her to have like an accessible team, have an artist or just artists in general have a team of, they have their dancers and they have the lights, the crew, their musicians, but it would really be nice for them to add an accessibility team, a group of like, 4 or 5 interpreters. And when it's time, to go on tour or you have different festivals and different songs or whatever, that we, to have that team be a part of the touring team and interpret all of the music and have deaf people, that typically would struggle and would request for an interpreter, they'd be able to enjoy that because they'd have full access. So that would really be nice.
So before you were a viral sensation and a reality TV star, you worked for Deaf Dawn DC. Can you tell me a little bit about what work Deaf Dawn DC does and why it's important?
Yes. So Deaf Dawn is based in Washington, D.C. It's a nonprofit organization for domestic violence, self-awareness, sexual assault, I apologize, sexual assault. And it provides resources for survivors in the deaf community in the DMV area. Many of them have been based in shelters or organizations, but in DC, that's the only deaf-led organization that provides resources within the deaf community. And we also partner with those other hearing domestic violence organizations or agencies to provide presentations and kind of explain what that looks like within the deaf community, and how people can still provide services, even though it's for deaf people. So that was pretty much what working with them looked like, and helping people find resources such as shelter and food and transportation and clothing, hotels, whether it's for court, for needing a lawyer, just providing different resources to be able to help them with their basic needs. And that was what we provided.
What are some of the specific issues and challenges that deaf women face when they seek help after surviving domestic violence or assault?
Most of the challenges are what happens when they leave the situation, where they're going to go to find resources, how to get back on their feet. Most of the people that we serve typically don't know about, food stamps, or they don't know about assistance, housing assistance, or the different things like that that we provide, because they don't have access to that language, because deaf communication, sometimes there's a barrier. So they tend to struggle to get back on their feet after having left that situation. So we try to help provide housing and resources, and get them food stamps, and help them with the bus, or with a subway, or just some type of transportation. And once they have those things, then they're able to become more independent. Also, we have a lot of deaf people in other countries as well, so that also like to help, also with immigration law, different things like that.
Do you have any projects coming up that you're really excited about?
Right now, I'm just maintaining my posting on social media and spreading awareness. Just kind of, but you'll see what'll be coming up soon. I'm working on something.
So my final question is, since this is an event for Disability Pride Month, what does Disability Pride mean to you?
Disability pride to me means taking ownership and pride in who you are. The world already tries to discriminate and be negative, but we don't have to allow that. We can stand strong, and stand up for what you believe in, and fight, to be seen. No more, pushing us away, but, we're making noise and being seen. But it's time to take back what they tried to take from us. So, we're getting back at that. So that's what disability pride means to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.